What's up, guys? Matt here with a review for Ready Player One, the latest film by director Steven Spielberg and based on the novel of the same name by Ernest Cline. The film stars Tye Sheridan, Olivia Cooke, Ben Mendelsohn, Lena Waithe, T.J. Miller, Simon Pegg, and Mark Rylance. The year is 2045. The economy is stagnant, the world is overpopulated, and there's an energy crisis. And to escape the harsh reality of life, people enter into a virtual reality world known as the OASIS. One of the founders of the OASIS, James Halliday, has revealed that there's an Easter egg within the OASIS and 3 keys required to unlock it. And whoever finds the 3 keys and the Easter egg will inherit $500 billion in stocks and complete control over the OASIS. The film follows Wade Watts, whose avatar, Parzival, is a Gunter, or egg hunter, and he's made it his sole purpose to discover the Easter egg. He teams up with another famous Gunter, Artemis, and his 3 friends, H, Daito, and Sho, and they're competing against the Sixers, players who work for the IOI, an organization led by Nolan Sorrento, whose sole purpose is economic control over the populace. This movie was a lot more entertaining than I honestly thought it would be, and it really highlights Spielberg's ability as a filmmaker, especially when it comes to sci-fi action films. He's been doing it for decades, and although some of them haven't worked, he really does a terrific job of bringing these imaginative stories to life. He's really good at creating tension and suspense, and the action scenes, they're entertaining, they're inventive, if not a bit crowded, but I think in this case it works to the film's advantage, because, oh my god, the references in this film! I think going into this, everyone knew that there were going to be a lot of pop culture references relating to video games, movies, and TV, but it is literally impossible to sit there and try and pay attention just watching the film and get every single reference in this movie. It's the kind of film you have to watch frame per frame to get everything that's being showcased. And it did. It took Steven Spielberg years to secure the rights to everything that was shown in this movie, and even then, he still couldn't get everything. I also think it's kind of funny because Steven Spielberg, to avoid appearing vain, actually excluded a lot of references to his own movies that were actually in the book. I think that was kind of interesting. But the visuals, I thought they were really interesting. Most of the visual effects used for this film are used whenever the characters are in the Oasis. And Spielberg went with a more video game-like aesthetic for that, so that when we're watching them, you know, it's not like he didn't go with anything photorealistic, like we're looking at some alternate fantasy world. It looks like a video game. We're watching these people play a video game. In regards to the book itself, I haven't had the chance to read it, but I have read a synopsis of it, and yeah, there was a lot of content from the book that was either cut or changed to make the movie. But I still think it worked, and considering that Ernest Cline, who wrote the book, also helped write the screenplay along with Cal Penn, it makes sense. And while I won't say that I think this is a terrific movie, there's nothing really glaringly wrong with it. But there are a few things that bother me. For one thing, the characterizations are pretty weak. They don't spend a lot of time in the real world for us to get to know the real people themselves. For example, we know that Wade's parents died, and so Wade lives with his aunt and boyfriend, I think? I forget. But they don't get along, and we only get 2 scenes between them, where we see them interacting with each other. Everything else is explained through narration, so we don't really get to know them that well. Another thing that kind of bothered me is that the movie's kind of long. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes. It didn't seem like it was too bloated. Nothing seemed unnecessary. And like I said, I was entertained, so it didn't bother me. But like towards the end, you got this really long action sequence, and at a certain point, I did say to myself, okay, it's over. They've won. Please, it's time for this to end. But it seemed to continue. It continued on for another few minutes. That in the beginning is it's just a bunch of narration with a bunch of exposition, getting all this important information out of the way right on the spot. And I think that was one of the weaker aspects of the film. But that's about it. Like I said, there's really nothing in the movie that's glaringly bad. I think the biggest draw for this movie is the sense of nostalgia that Spielberg presents with this video game world that's being built up, and the sense of escapism that he's showing these characters that they have when they can escape the harsh reality of their lives and lead better lives in this virtual reality. But at the same time, there's commentary here on how you can miss out on some of the most important things in life by dedicating too much time to that fantasy world. Overall, I'm going to give Ready Player One a 7.5 out of 10. While not Spielberg's greatest science fiction accomplishment, it's well put together, it's got consistent storytelling, and its astounding visuals make it an extremely entertaining experience. And that's what I got. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.